Welcome, welcome. Do we have any comic news? Was there any industry news today? You can
Uh,
think of.
Thinking about DC stuff. All DC's new shows are going to HBO
What's up
Max.
with this? Oh,
Hey!
it was a black screen.
Ah!
Okay.
Zoom in on this.
Right. All DC shows are going to HBO.
HBO Max. We're going to be seeing them there now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's dope. These HBOs helping DC live.
New season of Lucifer is on Netflix as well.
Oh, is it out?
Yeah.
The new season of Lucifer is out. Okay. Okay. That's dope. I'm just waiting for the boys to come out.
Dude! So hard.
It's so nice that the world is now boys fans. So that I don't have to be like walking around like I have this secret in me that's Garth Ennis's
You
masterpiece.
told me about the boys long before we opened the store. We couldn't find a single trade paperback out there, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was, you know what it was I was at WonderCon and Danny Keenan like turned to me just randomly. He was like, "Have you read The Boys?" And I was like, "No." He like put it in my hands and I was like, "This looks pretty good." He like gave me the lowdown on it. I was like, "Oh, this is messed up." Ready for the indie comics, huh, Andre? Okay.
Yeah.
We will go over indies. We will get all that done. Any other industry news you can think of? Nate, you got anything? Any Marvel news?
Oh,
What?
Milestone.
Oh, we talked about milestones coming back. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm pretty hyped about that.
Still hyped.
Okay, so we're gonna go over where are you at? Where's your comic store? We're in Northern California in Newark, California, New Park Mall. And yeah, we're just trying to make ends meet, but we have an online store. So if you go to stores.comichub.com/Green Machine Comics, you can find us. You might be able to find us off greenmachinecomics.com. It's sort of iffy, Wheeler. Our domain, for whatever reason, gets weird with us. We're still trying to figure that one out. If you search us, you can find it. Let's go over. Well, first from Dynamite, this is issue number 1 of Mars Attacks meets Red Sonja. The weirdest mashup I never knew I wanted, and it's pretty good. I will say that it reads more like a Red Sonja comic than it does an Ack Mars Attacks comic, which I want a little more comedy from anything with the Mars Attacks brand. I want a little more comedy than I got in this, and it's not to say it's bad. It set the stage. It's just not as it definitely favors Red Sonja versus the aliens doing weird stuff, which is really what I want to see. But you're gonna be able to see the aliens doing weird stuff in sort of hyperbole. What is it? Hyperbian setting? Hyperbian? We'll just call it Conan medieval Red Sonja setting is what it is. Yeah, so we're gonna see that. It's pretty good. It's nothing to write home about, but for an issue 1, I thought it was pretty good. We've got a lot of weird variants for this one, so if you're looking for the weird stuff, we've got it. But check it out. Next is issue number 3 of Avenger. No, this is just really about Khazar and the Savage Lands and how all that stuff worked out. There was very little Avengers in this issue in particular. And I get it, you know, it's Empire, all bets are off the table, it's an event and everything, but it just wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. Oh, I'm Kiwi, by the way. I changed. Oh, hi Kiwi. Hi Kiwiko. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as Avengers enough, and I don't know. I know there are people that really, really love Khazar. I'm sure somebody really loves Khazar. Not me. So if you're an Avengers fan, get the mainline stuff. Maybe skip this Empire stuff. It felt a little skippable. If you really love the Savage Lands and Khazar and stuff like that, then go check it out. The only reason I like the Savage Lands is because that's where Conan hangs out now. So, yeah. Take off your shirt. Woo! No, Dale. I will not take off my shirt. Thank you. Next is Lock and Key. Of course, this is Joe Hill, Gabriel Rodriguez, and Jay Photos in pale battalions. If you can't tell from the cover, this is Lock and Key, the World War I adventure. And, you know, it's fun. It's fun. It's the usual Lock and Key tropes. You know, we've got a family and, like, the kids are sneaking off using the keys in malicious ways and sometimes proper ways. And it's fun. You know what to expect. And we have a bunch of new Lock and Key fans thanks to the Netflix show. So we've got this here. Come pick it up. I did laugh out loud a couple times during this book. I will say it was one of the higher points of this week, so it was pretty good. But you got to kind of like that World War II feel for stuff. Next is a book I knew nothing about, and it just randomly showed up. But hey, it's Greg Rucka and Nicola Slott, and that is Black Magic. Now, I have not followed this series at all, so I was just picking up with this one in particular. We're not even sure how we ordered it. We don't recall like actually placing that. But what you get in this one is, well, you get it seems like there's a bunch of magic users, and some of them are evil, and some of them work for hell, and it's back and forth. So it's really sort of magic users, espionage type stuff, and it was kind of fun. I did want to know more. I love the art, honestly. The art is really wicked cool, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but there's something different about it, and it really appeals to me. But it's very, very, very black and white, and they are sparse on colors, and when they use colors, it is pretty striking, and I think that's just something that really appeals to me because I like the old indie sort of black and white comics. Those were my jam, the old heavy on the ink stuff. Wi-Fi signal is pretty weak here, so I'm currently at so I can't continue watching your stream. Well, that's a shame, but it was nice of you to hang out, Kimika. We'll catch you next time. So Black Magic, I would say this is definitely a buy. Check it out; it's pretty good. Go at least to your local comic shop, pick it up, thumb through it for a second, and see if it looks like your jam. I really dug it. I actually want to pick up a couple more of these. So yeah, there you go. Next is Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Fortune and Fate Turnabout. If you can't tell from that tagline, clearly this is going to be some deceptions, some backstabbery, and while Dr. Aphra does at times feel like another form of Han Solo, kind of at times, really she's more like Indiana Jones in space. And that is very, very clear from this issue in particular. Yeah, it is also the smuggler story. There's plenty of backstabbing and other stuff, but honestly, Dr. Aphra, as far as like the Star Wars comics are concerned, she's the gold standard of Star Wars comics, and this is no different. I will say, I favored the art of the last Dr. Aphra run a bit more than this time. I'm not sure what it is. It feels less like Star Wars comics and more like manga for whatever reason. It's a little different to me, and maybe I'm just adjusting to the new artist. But it was pretty good overall. And this was Wong, Krista, and Rosenberg. It was a pretty good showing, though. I will say that. Next is Blade Runner. This is Michael Green, Mike Johnson, and Andre Gonaldo. And this is Blade Runner 2019. There's something to be said about Blade Runner's image in that in the 1980s, Blade Runner was all like pink and blue and like cyberpunk aesthetics, where it was just really high tech and dirty. It was very dirty. And it felt like, I guess Transmet would be the closest like example. This cyberpunk, the way Blade Runner has aged, and it was the same thing in the last Blade Runner movie. It's been more like environmental issues and like maybe only the rich can afford to live in the luxury around wildlife. And it was like a grander statement on times that more reflected like our issues than it did in the 80s. And it was good. It was good. This is like the latter. It's way more reminiscent of the more recent movie, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a different form of cyberpunk than I really wanted out of Blade Runner, and I'm not hating it. It's still a detective story, and there's definitely some creepy high tech stuff going on in here, which happens in this issue in particular, and they're still trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't hate it. I'm just not in love with it yet, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Something about it, the characters hooked me. The art is good. The storyline definitely has twists and turns. It's just I can't put my finger on it, but something hasn't just fully sold me on this Blade Runner run. Have you read any of this, Yogi?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so he can't comment on it. So yeah, but I will say this issue in particular, if you're looking to get into some cyberpunk and not cybercomf or whatever I was saying there, this is probably a good jumping off point for you. So pick it up. Pickle Rick, huh, Isaac? Okay, Pickle Rick. Cringe. Okay. Next is Eastman, Campbell, Daniel, and Pattinson. Do you need one of these?
No, I was gonna grab my phone, but you're good.
Okay. And Pattinson. Of course, we're talking about the current mainline TMNT ongoing, and this is TMNT issue number 108. It is great. They were essentially investigating the Slither, which seems to be a mutated eel. So they don't even think it's human. It's just a giant eel that seems to be stealing kids in the night and taking them to the lower reaches of the sewer. So the turtles were hunting for that. Meanwhile, the Mausers were in play, which means Baxter Stockman is in play somehow. And that's never really a good thing for the turtles. So they're sort of getting to the bottom of all of that. And the last issue sort of ended on a cliffhanger of all of them being picked off in a very horror movie manner where they all just kind of like one by one started disappearing. It was good. It was good. And the resolution on this feels very... It's very Eastman and Laird type stuff. It felt like the old stuff. It was resolved, but not quite, and it could bite them in the butt later, but it's still good. And that's kind of what I want from these TMNT comics. Never a full resolution, but maybe something that might come back up later. So yeah, that's what you get. I'm loving everything about the current ongoing TMNT, and I can't recommend it enough. So if you're not on board with this stuff, you really should be. It's good stuff. It feels like the old Eastman and Laird stuff. And really, you want to get into this right now because eventually Ronan's coming out and everyone's going to be into that TMNT Ronan run. So let's jump in now, freshen up, get used to what's going on now before we push off to the miniseries. And apparently Laird's on that one too. So we're going to get Peter Laird along with Kevin Eastman on Ronan. So it's nice to have the team back together. Next is Mega Man Fully Charged. This one came out of nowhere. I knew nothing about a new Mega Man comic. And I haven't seen the new animated series, although somebody did recommend it to me. So let me make sure Twitch is not malfunctioning. So I will say that I was really surprised to see another Mega Man comic coming out. And the art on this one's okay. We have a 1 per store copy that is the art is really amazing. It's already claimed. This looks more manga than it does like Mega Man to me. It's Manga Man. And that art is pretty much the standard throughout the issue. I will say it's the usual stuff. There's Dr. Light, there's Mega Man, there's other robots to fight and this and that. There's probably a dark, sinister one lurking in the shadows. That's what you get. You know what you get. If you're a Mega Man fan, you know what to expect here. It's fun. It's fun. And the art is good. I will say the art is really, really good. It's just I'm not used to seeing Mega Man art like this. It's different. It's different. So if you're a Mega Man fan, I would say pick it up, thumb through it before you decide. And see if you really, really want it. And I don't know if it's on par with the animated series. It might be on par with the animated series, and I'm just not up to speed on it. So let it be. But as far as issues number 1, I would say that this was a pretty good issue. The art is amazing. It's just different from Mega Man stuff. But I have nothing to complain about on the art. The story's pretty good too. It definitely hooked me. I certainly want to know more. And this is Marciello, Reinhardt, Simone, and Monty. We've got copies, so come pick them up. Next is Joel and Ferreira, and this is, of course, Spider-Man Noir. I can't even look at this without hearing Nicolas Cage's voice now. It's weird. That's the Shocker, in case you can't tell from the cover. Get it? Look, that's the Shocker, Yogi.
Wow. Because he's shocking.
It's the Shocker.
Okay. Oh, wait. The Shocker.
Yeah. So, at any rate, is the issue good? Yeah, it's pretty good. Was it the Shocker or Electro? I think it was the Shocker. Maybe it is Electro. Maybe I've got him confused. Yeah, you're right. I think it's Electro. But I thought he called himself the Shocker. I don't care. It's a cool looking villain, is what I'm gonna say, and it's obviously based off one of Spider-Man's regular villains. It might be Electro. I might have him confused. Brain damage. I'm allowed one flub. um, what I will say is again, this is another book that feels like it feels like Indiana Jones, and that's the way I think it's intentional. It's noir. They're always fighting Nazis. They're always dealing with Nazis. I think this one actually ends with a betrayal in a desert involving Nazis. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, that's I think that's the feel they're going for, and it's good. It's good. But you know what you get with these Spider-Man noir comics? They're fun. They're reminiscent of older action films, and they're a good time. So yeah, and they're heavy on the amber and browns because there's not a lot of color in these ones, but they're still good. So yeah, come check it out. It's great. Next is the Daredevil Annual, and this was a weird one. I gotta tell you, it involves a magic stone and a wish that maybe Matt Murdock wasn't quite so alone in the world, and it goes from there. I will say, as far as Daredevil books are concerned, it was pretty good. I don't think it's on par with the current stuff on the shelf. I think the current Daredevil on the shelf, although it has had some ups and downs, has been amazing. A pretty good time. This one, as far as annuals are concerned, it's pretty good. You're getting a bonus annual story. It's sort of hooked into the mainline story. It's just not as great as the current Daredevil run, in my opinion. It was just sort of a I don't know side story that's I think is blending into mainline story, but I just wasn't as invested into it as the other story. So, anyways, it's pretty good. We'll have it here. Come check it out. And the art, the art's really good. I've really rarely complained about Daredevil's art these days. So yeah, this is Zadarsky, Mooneyham, Garcia, Underwood, and Rosenberg. I don't know. It's something about it. It just felt kind of like it missed a mark, and I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it's one of those books though that like I feel like if I had more time to sit and digest it, it would have deeper meaning for me. But I just didn't have a lot of time today, so I gotta rush through books. Next is Bliss, issue number 2, and this is Sean Lewis and Caitlin Yarsky, and this is the book that took me by surprise last time. Not just because the art was amazing, the art's amazing, like really, really good art, like a step above everything else. It's outstanding. This artist has gone above and beyond with what they've done, and it's just wild the facial expressions and everything else. But the moral question involved, like, is a man really a bad man if he doesn't remember his evil deeds and maybe did everything to help somebody else? And it's just a moral sort of a strange moral question that could lead to a crisis of morals if you asked anyone else. So it's really interesting, and it involves a son who is basically trying to explain to a judge why his father is not an evil man, and it involves a drug and it removes memory, and a son who's in dire need of health care and everything else. And it's good. It's good. This issue again didn't bore me. Had a couple twists and turns. Wasn't as exciting as the first one, but is definitely just as messed up. Which it's intriguing. I really want to know where this story is going to go. And how many issues is this? Is this only 3 issues, or is it going to be longer? Do you know? Bliss.
Oh, I think it's undetermined.
Yeah, I don't know how many issues this is. It's super cool though. But I will say that a lot of times the art sort of looks like a 90s rave at times. It's heavy on colors and heavy on shadows and like warped caricatures and all types of cool stuff. I really, really love this art. I dug it. So I expect a lot of Caitlin Yarsky from here on out. So anyways, issue number 2, come pick it up. Next is Maguire, Gara, and Herring. Of course, we're talking about Ghost Spider. And really, it should be titled Gwenom, because I hate to say it, but these days it seems like she's acting more and more Gwenom and more less and less Ghost Spider is what I'm going to say. So it's fun. It's cool. Basically, she's sort of been dealing with threats from, the Storm siblings of her world. So that would be Sue and Johnny Storm. And they have their powers, but they've disappeared for 5 years, and they come back, and they seem rather sinister. So yeah, you know what you're getting here. You're getting a superpowered fight, and it's good. It's great. Honestly, I've been having such a good time with this run, which is weird to say because McGuire wrote the last run, and I wasn't having the best time with the last run when it came to an end, and then she started on this run, and it just felt different. I'm not sure what is different, but it's been great. So, issue number 10 of Ghost Spider, come pick it up. Oh, I will say something was different about the art in this, and I'm not sure what it was, but it was definitely a little bit different. But yeah, there you go. Next is Captain America, issue number 3. This is the Empire Captain America tie-in. And, well, they said it in the first issue that maybe they were going to be acting like Howling Commandos. And no, they've taken the monocle, the moniker, they've taken the eyeglass. They've taken the moniker of Howling Commandos. So it is definitely Captain America and the Howling Commandos. And it's fun. It's fun. I'm having a good time with it. I think we're going to get one more issue of this, one more issue before it's concluded. I honestly hope we see more of the Howling Commandos running around with Cap in the actual Marvel universe. This was a good run. And you know what you're getting with this. You're getting a war story with Cap. That's what you're getting, a war story with Cap. And even though there's aliens involved, it is very reminiscent of sort of the older Marvel war story comics. It's fun. It's a good time. So come pick this up. Next is, I think it's my pick of the week. I'm not fully sure, but I'm sort of sure. This particular copy is kind of warped. But old X-Men issue number 11, Empire, with Hickman, Yu, and Barreto. Go figure, it's a Hickman book. Was amazing this week. Amazing. The Katati have invaded and have, they've already been invading and attacking Krakoa. But old Magneto got tapped to deal with it. And Magneto, being the war commander of all, he's got a lot of tools in his arsenal. So what suit do you think he dons if he's going to war? Nah, like red and purple, like he used to. Like he put on the original Magneto look and went to war, and it felt good. It felt good, and essentially it plays out that they're telling the story of what Magneto did and how he dealt with the aliens and mutants. It was awesome. But I mean, Magneto's got so much character, and the way Hickman writes him, it's like you take a character that's already got so much character and you multiply it by 1,000, and you might be close to what Hickman does with characters. Maybe just slightly. This is the Path to X of Swords, which is going to be part 2 to the House of X, Powers of X. It's great. Really, really good. This issue in particular might be my pick of the week. I had so much fun with it. I read it, and then I sat there and wanted to reread it again. I don't have time for that on a normal day, but I really honestly wanted to go back to this book. It's amazing. So come pick it up. Next is another book that, again, we didn't know we ordered this. It just sort of arrived. And I'm picking up mid-story, but this is Dead Body Road. Now, a couple things to unpack. First, the art was great. It was really, really good. It was just gritty enough to tell a crime story is what it feels like. And I can't unpack everything because this is issue 3. And again, not sure why we jumped in on issue 3. But what I will tell you is this feels like a small town, and a small town that's been sort of ruled by a crime family of sorts. And some vigilantes are fighting back. So that's what I've unpacked. I'm not entirely sure if I've nailed it, but the story was intriguing. There are definitely bad men at play here. I'm not sure anyone's a good guy in this story. It feels like there's plenty of necessary evil and plenty of evil. So it's Justin Jordan, Benjamin Tiesma, and Matt Lopes. It was really interesting, and I wanted to know more. I'm probably going to go back and pick up the other 2 issues. I don't think this is a good jumping off point because I was still a little confused. But I will say I'm intrigued and want to know more, and you should too. So Dead Body Road, come check this out. We've got copies, and we can always back order. Next is Wells Segovia Curiel, and this is Hellions, issue number 3. Now, I'm going to tell you that I feel like the Hellions team is Um, the weakest of all the X teams right now. Which before I sort of felt like I wasn't super invested in Excalibur, but I liked him per se. I'm not invested in the Hellions team at all. I want to. I want to. There's plenty of characters on that team that I like, but they're still dealing with the same thing right now. It's issue number 3. They're dealing with Mr. Sinister's old clone farm, and they went there to burn it down, only to find that it's kind of active and filled with clone zombies. And if that sounds like a familiar trope that the X-Men seem to be dealing with a lot these days, it should. Uh, there's just nothing to write home about this book in particular. The art's good. The art's good. The writing is, well, I'm just not that invested in this team yet. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'd say give it another issue before you really jump in on this. But if you want more of this X-Men stuff, and you should, because most of it is pretty much amazing right now, then we'll have copies of this here.
There's a Plants vs. Zombies joke in there somewhere.
Plants versus yeah, there's definitely a Plants versus Zombies joke there. Yeah, with the Katati and all the zombies and all the other stuff. So, okay, this is Fantastic Four Antithesis. Now, we have had a lot of requests for this series because the cover art for some of the variants is pretty cool looking. This is Wade, Adams, Farmer, and Martin. I couldn't, the second I picked it up, I was like, oh, this art is kind of like, it feels like an old guard member. And then I noticed it's Neil Adams. So it is definitely an older style of art. So if you aren't used to that older style of art, you might not be at home with it. But the story is awesome because Mark Waid is at the helm. And keep in mind, the art, I don't mind Neil Adams all that much, but I will say that you have to like the older books to sort of really like his style. So come pick it up, thumb through it, and see if you dig it. The story is intriguing. It centers. It starts off with the usual X-Men dealing with usual villain, and then Silver Surfer shows up because who's dead? Who's dead? Yeah, a couple weeks back, Marvel finally tied the biggest loose end in all of, I think, literary history. Maybe, because I mean, Marvel as a serial has been running for how long? How long has Marvel Comics been running with Galactus as like just a loose end? I don't know how many decades, for decades upon decades upon decades. Yeah. So I mean, like Galactus has always been, in my opinion, the worst loose end. Like he's just roaming around devouring things, and they've never really addressed it. Not fully. I mean, they've dealt with him, but never fully addressed it. Yeah. So at any rate, it's weird to see Galactus is gone. Galactus is gone. It's crazy. It's crazy times we live in. Galactus is gone, and we're dealing with a pandemic. But yeah, so that's what's going on. And Silver Surfer has crash landed and asked for, he's asking for help, and we're gonna go from there. I probably spoiled too much of this book already, and I'm sorry if I did that. But it was good. It was good. Again, though, you really have to be cool with Neil Adams' art. If you're not cool with it, I mean, you should be. He's one of the long-standing traditions in comics. He's pretty awesome. So yeah, and Mark Waid's at the helm, so you're gonna get good writing if Mark Waid is involved. So yeah, come pick up this book. It's great. Next is Larry Hama, Roland Boshi, and Andre Massa, and this is a book that I can't in good conscience recommend. And that's I, Wolverine, the 2020. And this is essentially future Wolverine if Wolverine was lone wolf and cub, and basically a glitched AI was in him. And the cub was a Shirley Temple knockoff that would roll all of her R's into W's. Yeah. She literally says, "Let's walk and wool" at one point. And I'm just like, oh, the cringe. The cringe is giving me a stroke. Yeah. It was not a good book. The first book was not that great, and I was like, "This is Lone Wolf a Cub. Let's wait and see." And the second book is It's horrible. It's not good. I didn't have a good time with it. I didn't laugh once. Everything seemed dialed in and a bit tropey. But maybe you like it. Also, the art. I don't know what it was about the art, but the characters just, for whatever reason, felt like they had dead eyes at times. And maybe it's just the Shirley Temple character, but it wasn't my jam. And I'm kind of an art snob. We all know that. So it just wasn't my jam. I can't recommend it. We've got it on our shelf if you really, really want a little more Wolverine, except for it's eye Wolverine. Because if you add an eye to it, that's technology, right? Apparently, Wolverine is an Apple Store creation. So guaranteed Wolverine, whatever his price was originally to make the adamantium, you got to double it and then multiply it by 10, and that's the iWolverine price, right?
But what if I lose my Wolverine?
What if there's a dongle for that? Oh! You've got a Wolverine dongle. If you lose your dongle, then you lose a dongle for the Wolverine dongle. Of course. What about a stand for your Wolverine? How much would you pay for a stand for your Wolverine?
What, $4.99? $5.99?
No, the low price of $999.
What a deal!
It comes and it's just like a coat hanger that you just strap to his neck and hang him up in the closet.
But it's white.
but it's wireless.
But it's white.
Oh. Yeah.
That way it can match the rest of your outfit.
Oh. Right? So like then Wolverine's eye right here shouldn't be silver. It should be white, like an Apple product.
You just have like a black little happy apple there,
This book sucks. I'm sorry.
Get the hell out of that dead horse, man.
If I could pick one comic from this week to walk out to the desert and bury it in a shallow grave, it would probably be I Wolverine. Sorry. Not my jam. Next is a book that, there's so much character in this series. Chew is a series that I didn't really like at times. What is that?
This is in the go back pile.
Who ordered this? Oh, the go back pile.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's if you want to show that later. Oh. That's gonna be there for.
Is that signed by Dodson?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is for the private auction event that we're going to be hosting.
Yeah, we've got an autographs. That's pretty cool. Okay. Anyways, so Chew is a series that I honestly I didn't really read too much Chew, and it's kind of a trade paperback that is sort of sat on our shelves. It involves a detective that I guess can whatever he eats, he senses like stuff about it, sees the memories of it, which is a very Brian Lumley necromancer type creation, which is it's cool, it's different. One thing that I didn't understand about this series though, one is the art has such character. I mean, really has like insane amount of character. Two, the characters have such character. This one centers around a killer named Mr. Murder, and Mr. Murder's got a hard karate chop. It looks like that's how he kills people, and he's addicted to energy drinks. And that's a really fun and sort of flawed character. There's a lot of weird, flawed characters that I like in this story. So the writer has really, as someone who wasn't a Chew fan, the writer has kind of sold me on this. And Chew's sister, I want to know much more about. Now, I will say that eating dead people is kind of gross, or tasting dead people, I guess, is kind of gross to me. But whatever. I'm beyond it. I'm actually interested in this series. I think they've sold me on it. So John Layman, Dan Boltwood, good job. I've never been a Chew fan, and I'm interested and want to know more. So yeah, we've got it. Issue number 2. It's not too late to jump in. We'll have it here. Come pick it up. The art is really cool. There's so much character in that story. I was kind of blown away. And now is a story that, of course, has a lot of character, and that I sing the praises of every chance I get, and that is The Boys, Garth Ennis's masterpiece. And this is Dear Becky and issue number 4. And what are you going to do when all the Asgard parodies show up? So Thor shows up with all his brothers and sisters, essentially, to kick Butcher's butt. Well, it's not going to work out in his favor, because you've plotted against Butcher, and old Billy Butcher doesn't fight fair, and that's what you're gonna get in this issue. They're setting the stage for something much bigger. Meanwhile, Wee Huey is still off doing his own thing and reading a diary of Butcher, who's been writing to his long dead ex-wife or his long dead wife, and it's messed up. It's messing with Huey's psyche. Meanwhile, there's a lot to play here, so I'm super intrigued. I every one of these issues, I finish it and I'm like, God, I really wish I had this in trade so I could just power through the whole thing. Come pick this up. It's awesome. There's one more thing. Oh, Andre says one more thing. We're laughing about dongles and stuff. You heart Apple? You like Apple? Really, Ramirez? That's weird. Okay. Next is Slot Gauge Woods, and that is Iron Man 2020. And you guys heard me last time. I don't like Arno. That hasn't changed. I don't give a crap about Arno Stark. But Tony Stark is back into Tony Stark form, and the last issue felt really good. I told you guys it felt great. Like, this was a good wrap up. Like, I know there's one more issue. I don't know where they're going to go from this. Well, they went there, and it was good. It was really good. It felt a lot like the last issue. So as much as I hate giant sharp gear shoulder pad Arno, I've reached the end of the Iron Man 2020 series, and it was pretty good. I had a good time. I'm not going to lie. As far as all the what were they all called? Iron Man, Machine Man, what were all Ironworks? What were they? Rescue. Rescue's good. Rescue was good.
I don't know if I feel
Yeah, but they were all tied to it, and frankly, most of them were not particularly thrilling. This one was obviously the best, but go figure, it's the Iron Man title. They're gonna make it the best. So yeah, I had a good time with it. We got extra copies if you need it. It's good. Oh, and the art, man, the art was really good, like really good. Like, there's something about this art that super appeals to me. So yeah, and the fight was awesome. Next is Canto 2, The Hollow Man. What are you going to do? The Clockwork Knights have all been freed, but they found out that one of them has wound down. So the ticking clock of the Clockwork Knights story is a ticking clock. Apparently, they're all going to wind down. Oh! So, yeah, I'm into it. I like Kanto. He's just the little knight that can, and now he's got some brothers and sisters who are going to be on his honorable quest. And if I were a betting man, I would say that they're all going to wind down or meet their ends separately until it's just Kanto left standing. That would be my guess. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know what you're getting with these Kanto books? Like, the art is great. The story is, well, it's a lot deeper than it seems at first, and it's good. I want to know what they're dealing with. Apparently, there's a big new Sinister Bad sort of hiding in the background, and that might be at play here. So we're going to have to wait and see. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And that's, I honestly can't recommend this enough. So it's issue number 1. Come jump in on Kanto. If you like knights and swords and sorceries, you probably like Kanto. And that's all of our books for this week. We had DC yesterday. We had Marvel and Indy today. My pull of the week is definitely going to be DC, and it's going to be 3 Jokers by Jeff Johns. Without a doubt, my pull of the week. The second pull of the week, my second pick, at least from the Marvel side, is going to be for sure X-Men. That's not to say that there weren't plenty of other good books. It's just going to be for sure X-Men. And then I'm going to say the indie pick of the week. If I had to go with any of them, it's going to be Bliss, issue number 2, because I just had the best time with that. And so that's all we got for you. Any other news? Any other things to say before we wind this down? Oh, we have Absolute Carnage Pops. Hit me one.
Oh, yeah.
Hit me with one. We have these amazing pops. We have 12 of them. They're Absolute Carnage. You can pick them up here at Green Machine Comics or greenmachinecomics.com. And if you can't tell, the gravestones say Parker, Brock, Rogers, and Logan. So, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And if you read the Absolute Carnage series, you'd understand the significance. So yeah, I it's such an awesome looking pop. Do we have a comic with the actual?
Oh, I think we sold them all out. Hold on, let me double check.
Well, at any rate, we got that, and then look what I got. Can you hand me that House of X thing?
Oh God.
It should be over there.
To your left, to your right, underneath the clinics.
This is mine. We have two of these, so we have another one on the website, but this one is mine. Yeah. So we have these. If you wanted House of X and Powers of X, if you wanted to read Hickman's masterpiece that is as thick as a King James Bible, my God, you get this, and the art in it is so stupid good, ridiculous. But go figure, it's Lorez Silva and Gracia. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, it's like a $40 book, but essentially you're getting like a giant, thick. What is it, like 2 or 3 trades worth of books? It's awesome, and I guess that's our show for this week. Oh, and if you buy 3 Jokers, you get a free Batman Joker playing card. So buy 3 Jokers. We don't have a lot left, actually. We're almost sold out, and that has been great too. So we'll see you guys later. I have to end everything. Oh, you're dancing it off? He's dancing it off. I need to end. Twitch, you're going to look up my nose right now. Save. End stream. And end stream. Bye, guys.
Yeah. The signed fucking copy.